Hi everyone and welcome back to another Reef Life update. So it's been a while since I shot my last video, and that's based around a couple of developments inside the tank that I want to tell you and take you on a journey what's changed over the last few months to get this tank back in reasonable shape. At least that's what I would call the state that it's currently in, and hopefully it's only upwards from here again. So on first sight, not a lot has changed, so that it's more kind of a bit more subtle things. Let me see if I can get the brightness down a bit. Yeah, that's better. So I'm actually filming this video with a 10K yellow lens. That's because my new phone, it's OnePlus 11, it's not as good with the white balance as the Google Pixel was, so I have to use a small lens, which is an Arca coral reef lens. So that's great to use in this case because it shows the colors somewhat more in their actual colors instead of a blue hue around everything. So first of all, a couple of fish are gone now. So one of them was the fox face, which was actively eating my Ricordea mushrooms, which was really a pity because I like Ricordea a lot, and quite a lot of them have perished over the past few months. A couple of nice ones also. So that's that's something that I hated started happening, but something that I noticed. And the other one is the regal angelfish, the Pichoplites dicanthus. At first, it behaved quite well, and then as time went on, it started nipping on more and more corals, LPS mainly, which also meant that a lot of corals started to die off. One good example is the frog spawn that I had right here, or the Euphilia. I mean, this was like over 20 heads, and now it's reduced to 5 heads. And it was also the home of the clownfish, which have now moved to this Euphilia, which is also a nice one, of course, but it's a lot smaller. So the fish have to adapt to a smaller home. But yeah, well, it's at least they still have a home, so it's good to see them still kind of happy. But I was relatively unhappy because of the wreckage or the damage that the Pichoplites has caused inside the tank, mainly on LPS. So it didn't touch any of my Zoanthus, for example. So as you can see, they are still looking pretty awesome. They're growing fast as well, especially these pink ones and these purple green ones. They're actually spreading like crazy. So I'm glad they're stuck in an island, so they can't spread across the entire tank. I did also have a colony of pinkish Zoanthus right here, but I'm glad I got rid of those. And these are also ones that I need to keep in check, otherwise they'll spread around the entire tank. And I mean, they look very beautiful, so no issues there. But they grow like crazy, so it's good to keep them in check for a bit. So another thing that has changed is my reefscape. Well, if you've seen my previous videos, you'll notice that this part of the tank has remained mainly the same. So not a lot has changed here, but on this side quite a lot has changed. I took out all of these rocks on the left side, like this whole area right here, just to catch the Pichoplites and the fox face. So I had some space to move around with a couple of fishing nets to get them out. And after I did, I added 2 new rocks to the tank. So this one right here, that's came from my local fish store. It was in a previous tank before, and this is a whole new piece of Marco rock that I've put in there. And then on top of it, I put the shelf that was in my previous scape as well. It's the same shelf with the same branch, so they're still in one piece. It was just the other way around. So this branch right here was pointing in that direction instead of in that direction. So yeah, a bit has changed. I think for the good, because it looks a lot more dynamic now, in my opinion, and there's a lot more crevices as well. And as you can see right here, I think it's a good example now, because the copper band is right here. You can see that you can see all the way through the reef, through the stones. So there's a lot of open areas where the fish can swim and can move around through the tank throughout the day. So I'm actually quite happy with the rescape. And yeah, of course, the rescape had to happen because I had to catch those two pesky fish that were harassing my corals. Um, well, I guess I learned something from that, because I did have a Pichoplites before, and then again, or also back then, it also started to eat a couple of corals along the way, and that's eventually why I got rid of it as well, since my large, well, it was not really a fish-only tank, but it was there were some leather corals in there as well, some soft corals, and well, the Picho decided to have them for lunch as well. So back then I already got rid of that one, or got rid of it. I sold it to a fellow reefer, same as this one, by the way. So if you're seeing this video, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. It went to a new tank where there were not a lot of corals, and where the owner was willing to adapt his tank to the fish instead of the other way around. And yeah, for me, corals are an important part of my reef, so I definitely don't want to make that kind of sacrifice just to have a fish in here. So that's why it moved out, and that's why, well, it moved out actually, I think, well, it's nearly a week ago, so 6 days ago now, and I can already see some of my corals recovering. For example, this is a good example right here. This soft coral, as you can see, there were some bites taken from it, but it's finally showing some polyps again, which it hasn't done in quite a while. So I really noticed that, yeah, the corals are overall somewhat more happy. And not all of them. I mean, for example, this Duncan's right here, they suffered a bit too much. As you can see on the left here, it shows a lot of skeleton already. I think on the right here, it's somewhat better. It's somewhat less damaged. But yeah, overall, it's still a long way to go for recovery. But then again, that's always the case in this hobby. You got to give it some time, and in time things will get better, as long as you keep solving the issues that the tank throws at you. These Calostrea, for example, also a good example of what was picked on by the Picho. So yeah, all in all, the tank is back on the way to recovery. There are some corals that died. A lot of colors disappeared from my tank, and now the idea is to start restocking it slowly. Of course, taking it one step at a time. Give the tank some time to recover. Give the fish some time to get back to normal, since I just did a big rescape. And yeah, I think there's still plenty of fish around here to enjoy. The corals are also spread out evenly, so yeah, all in all, for now it's good, and let's see how the tank recovers. And yeah, I'd like to see some green star polyp spreading around the back of the tank again as a sign of recovery. Same goes for the Cephastrea right here, that's been in my tank for years, also my previous tank, and also slowly starting to look better than it did. So on these branches, there's still a lot of space, of course. That's reserved for some more SPS corals along the way, but I'm going to wait a couple of weeks or months before I start adding those. Overall, the water parameters are great, or good enough, all within the acceptable ranges. I reverted back to nutrient control with a vodka vinegar mix that has been heavily discussed online. So a very standard way of reducing nutrients: some carbon, some phosphate remover, and then yeah, just the basic stuff that I've always had in here since I started this tank. So the Red Sea Skimmer and the Red Sea filter mat that you can see right here, and then a 36 watts UVC that's being fed by this pump, as you can see right here. And then that's it for the sump, and a regular dosing mix. That's a three-part dosing mix: alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium. And then on the very right, the mix of vodka vinegar and a bit of RODI water to get the optimal mix there. So all in all, I'm happy that the tank is finally starting to recover, at least good enough to make a new video. If you have any questions or requests, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Until then, I hope you like this video. If you did, consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Let's get this routine back to normal, and let's get this tank thriving again. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. So bye bye and have a great weekend.